He picked the wrong family, and not scared of a conflict, and we're not scared. We're not running. We're coming at him.
Hey guys, it's Franky. Welcome to the Think Tank. So before we go into another day of trial with the Letitia Stouch case, I thought maybe we would take another fast look at what's going on with Lori Vallow and her case. So on an entertaining note, she fell asleep in court the other day. The day that she had asked to be let out for the afternoon, she ended up crossing her arms and having a little snooze. Let's check it out.
Portfolios are a lot like a basketball team. If an asset's not performing, you consider trading it. Take Kelly, for instance. Relax. We're just talking about investing.
This has nothing to do with all your traveling, Magellan.
More evidence presented today in the case against Lori Vallow. The so-called doomsday mom is on trial for the deaths of her two youngest children, 7-year-old JJ and 16-year-old Tylee.
Fox 10 Aston Lum is in Boise, Idaho with the latest on today's developments.
We want to warn you, much evidence we were shown this morning was very graphic surrounding Lori Vallow's two dead children, JJ and Tylee. The testimony we heard from this Rexburg police detective was heavy, and we knew it was only going to get more difficult throughout the day. But before the afternoon session in court could even get underway, Vallow requested to be excused from the rest of today's evidence. Her lawyer cited her fragile mental health and an emotional day, but the judge denied her.
Once they started removing the soil, slowly, methodically, we began to see a black, round object starting to protrude through the dirt.
Lori Vallow sat with her arms crossed, looking away from the projector screen. Another warning for viewers, what we had to see was extremely graphic. Photos of Lori's 7-year-old son, JJ Vallow, wrapped in duct tape across his arms and head with a plastic bag on his head that had to be cut off. Detective Ray Hermosillo described witnessing the body at the Ada County Coroner's Office in June of 2020, shortly after investigators discovered the remains of JJ and his big sister, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan, on the property of her husband, Chad Daybell. The jury looked at devastating images, some holding back tears as we saw the shallow graves the kids were buried in and what was left of Tylee's remains. Hermosillo says a team of investigators between Rexburg Police and the FBI took turns digging because it was so hard to smell the charred bones and flesh covered in dirt.
Burnt flesh, bone, all kind of what appeared to be put in a green bucket. It had melted.
The detective also took the jury back through the investigation several months prior in late November 2019 when Rexburg PD served a search warrant at Lori's town home.
This woman literally makes me sick.
Police found empty closets with hangers and no one inside the apartment. They recovered weapons in the garage, including multiple rifles, a handgun, several rounds of ammunition, a ghillie suit, and Alex Cox's passport. Alex is Lori's dead brother and alleged co-conspirator along with Daybell.
We were contacting anybody that would listen to us or take our calls, trying to find the whereabouts of the kids.
And tomorrow morning, we expect to hear more cross-examination with this Rexburg police detective. So far, we have yet to know what the causes of deaths for both JJ and Tylee are. In Boise, Justin.
Yeah. Unreal. Unreal. I still want them to take a little bit of another look at her brother Alex as well. Pretty odd that he just up and died around that time. So we are on Thursday. This is Tuesday, but I did want to get out a little bit on what that cop had to say. As disturbing as it is, I think everybody needs to know what these monsters have done. Gigi McKilvery of Law and Crime told Chris Como on News Nation that the defendant appeared to be asleep for a solid 30 minutes at the end of the day and speculated that she may have been medicated after her distress following the lunch break. She did. She had a very long nap after the morning's already harrowing testimony, but ahead of the display of the photos and descriptions of what they found at the burial site in a pet cemetery at her husband, Chad okay, here we go again. Chad Daybell's property. Ms. Vallow asked to waive her right to be present in the courtroom. The judge did deny that. I still would like to know, okay, if the brother was the one that attacked these kids, what was Chad doing at that house? If it was nothing suspicious, how did he end up taking those poor dead kids back to his property and burying them? Who did what? Again, Nate Eaton, and he's with oh my word, News Now, at Nate at News Now, at Nate News Now. I always recommend that East Idaho News is kind of checked out because he seems to have some of the best content. So it is saying that after lunch, her demeanor did change. She did smile and laugh through the morning, but after the break, the lunch break, she did come back quiet, stoic, scowling, and saying nothing. She didn't get her way. And we do know that they're saying that Mr. Cox died from a blood clot in December of 2019, not knowing if there was anything in there in his system to cause something along those lines. All right. Hey. So this one's from People. And again, talking about how difficult it was to extract the bodies of those two kids. June 9th, 2020, they excavated part of the property's pet cemetery. We got on our hands and knees and began digging around this moist section of dirt, he said, adding that investigators began to smell decomposing body parts, where they eventually uncovered bits and pieces of Tylee. She had been burned. There were pieces of bone, charred flesh, just globs of flesh that were falling apart. How disturbing is that? He said that they continued to dig. The remains of JJ were found wrapped in a black garbage bag. This is how we are getting our pictures of Lori and her lawyers. They do not right now have cameras or even audio that can be put out right away. As investigators continued to dig, they found wood paneling, black plastic bag that appeared to be like the crown of a head. During this, Chad went outside and made a phone call from his car, according to Hermosillo. When investigators arrived at the home that morning, Chad was still asleep, and they were greeted at the door by Chad's son, Mark. Hermosillo said that officers woke Chad up, after which they went outside. Chad went and sat in his car and made a phone call. While on the phone, Chad was intently looking over his right shoulder and watching what was going on behind him. Sometime later, after the excavation had begun, Chad just drove off at a high rate of speed. Good Lord. You know, they're thinking that they're doing this, or they're not thinking, they're saying they're doing this in the name of God. Well, if you're feeling so not guilty, why are you bolting? Why are you hiding? On flippin' real. I hope these two never see this daylight again. We do know that Lori has the death penalty off of her case, but we're not so sure about Chad at this point. JJ was last seen September 23rd, 2019, and last known images of Tylee was September 8th, 2019. She was on a day trip to Yellowstone National Park with her mother, brother, and Lori's brother, Alex Cox. Again, they're saying on December 12th, 2019, that Alex Cox died from a heart attack at the age of 51. Lori has also been indicted in Arizona on one count of conspiracy to commit first degree in connection with the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, who was shot in 2019 by Lori's brother, saying that it was self-defense. And there is also going to be the trial, including Chad's wife, who also was unalived about 2 weeks before Chad and Lori Daybell got married. So, you know, nothing sketchy about that either. What the actual hell? I am just doing a fast update here. I wanted to get a little bit more done, but the day yesterday didn't allow for it. And I just want to make sure that we're good to go just in case I can't get to it later today. So as police searched Chad Daybell's property for the remains of Lori Daybell's children, the Idaho couple now accused of killing those children spoke on the phone, and their conversation was recorded and played at Lori's trial on Wednesday, which is yesterday. During that call, Lori asked Chad if he was okay. They're searching the property, Chad told her. There was a search warrant. Later in the call, Lori asked if investigators were inside Chad's home. No, they're out in the property, Chad responded. Are they seizing stuff again? Lori asked. Chad responded, they're searching. We'll see what transpires. Lori asked if she can do anything for her husband, and he said he was feeling pretty calm. And then he told Lori he loved her. At one point, Lori asked if she should try to call back later. Chad said, I don't know. I'll answer if I can. I love you and we'll talk soon. Lori, 49, is charged with the murder and deaths of her 2 children, as well as conspiracy to commit first degree in the death of Chad's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Rexburg, Idaho, on Tuesday, police detective Ray Hermosillo provided a graphic account on how authorities discovered the remains of Lori's children. On June 9th, 2020, the day of the phone call between Lori and Chad, JJ was found wrapped in plastic and bound by duct tape. Tylee, was dismembered and burned. My tongue just doesn't want to do the work this morning. Doesn't want to roll. A few of us got our hands and knees and began digging around this moist section of dirt. So, yeah, I don't believe the other day when Lori asked to be taken from the courthouse or not have to sit in for the afternoon session. I think they made the right choice. You make her sit there and listen to what they have done. JJ and Tylee were both reported missing after JJ's grandparents, Larry Woodcock, called authorities in Rexburg, Idaho on November of 2019 and asked them to conduct a welfare check on the children. Once they did, they realized that JJ and Tylee had not been seen since September of that year. Wow. They have come up with all sorts of excuses, from homeschooling to being at a friend's house to being at grandmother's place. We know that she has avoided the death penalty, but again, she should never see the light of day if in fact she is found guilty. In my opinion, she will be, and she did do this. My opinion. Jazzy singing to me first thing here. Sorry for the bad singing. She got that from me. So it's saying that, yes, she has additional charges for which she is on trial in Idaho. Lori has also been indicted in Arizona for conspiracy to commit first degree in connection with the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, who was shot in 2019. And this is the husband, she's had many, that was shot and killed by her brother, Alex, who then died of a heart attack later that year. So, you know, if you do have any information, these lines are still open. And if you do suspect a child is in danger, call 1-800-for-a-child or 1-800-422-4453, or you can go to www.childhelp.org. There is also, it's saying that this hotline is available 24/7 and in more than 170 languages. So a great resource if you happen to run into a case where it's hard to even, where you believe kids may be being harmed. And if you know they're being harmed, call somebody. Call the police, call 911, call somebody. Let's save these kids. There's too much of this going on. So guys, I'm going to jump off. I'm hoping you guys will be on my next live, which is the case for Gannon Stout. His stepmother is in the middle of going through her case. Well, I shouldn't even say the middle, because they're expecting this one to also last 6-7 weeks. So I hope to see you there. Have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.